Arab world, then Madrid, now Athens.
Thousands of Greeks have gathered in Athens for their largest protest so far. Protesters call the government thieves, angry that jobs have been lost and wages have been cut.
I think the revolution coming, it's the revolution in the ideas or the thinking for Greek people.
If they invade your economic life, they invade your economic dignity.
The people have to rise up and fight for their rights.
Everything in it.
Before Goldman Sachs, before the IMF, there were the three ruling families of Greece that ate the nation.
Our double occupation, first by Troika, and secondly by our own country, who has occupied Greece in favor of foreign powers.
June 29, 2011. The Greek parliament passed the harsh austerity measures demanded by the Troika.
340 billion euros in debt. The country could only secure the next instalment of a 110 billion euro loan with its passing of the plan.
The Greek people would be willing to make any type of sacrifice to save their country. I'm sure they would. But they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. This is a death spiral. You don't need to be an expert nor have a degree in economics. You just need common sense to see that this is not working. This plan is not working.
Riots on the streets of Athens again. Governments across the world are now very worried that Greece may default on its huge debt.
In fact, the plan was going exactly as planned.
There's tear gas everywhere.
The ruling elite plunders a nation with help of big loans from Western banks. These loans are transferred to the IMF, who occupies the nation in the name of aid.
Sounds like revolution out there, huh?
Yes, it's the acrid smell of revolution. It's happening right here. The Troika, the IMF, the EU, the ECB are trying to steal this country. And the people are saying, wait a minute, we don't want to have our stuff stolen.
So the ultimate goal seems to be kicking the IMF out.
For most people, yes, but don't forget that the mainstream media here in Greece are saying, oh my goodness, if the IMF didn't come to our rescue, we would be bankrupt, and bankruptcy is a bad thing. This is what they've been saying to all the people.
Default is never an option in today's financialized so-called capitalism. The assets must always be stripped for pennies on the dollar. But this wasn't always the case.
In 1934, we declared bankruptcy as a Greek state in 1934. And in 1939, Greece was under the rule of the dictator Ioannis Metaxas. And he, Metaxas, sent to the borrowers, French and Belgian banks, that we don't have money to repay the loans, because if we pay you, would deprive our nation from its basic needs. And so we have the duty first to protect our people, not the borrowers,
so today,
the lenders.
So today Greece has loans outstanding that have been imposed on them under very dubious circumstances. Mm-hmm. And according historically, the answer to that has been to default.
Exactly. Default. And the bankers took the Greece to the International Court of Justice.
In what year?
In 1939.
And how did they do?
And this is the decision.
What was the decision?
The decision was in favor of Greece, and it says that Greece has the duty and the right and the duty first to cover the needs of its own people rather to pay their debts. So they vindicate the Greece not to pay even one drachma to them.
Now, according to a case right here in Greece in 1939, the country was able to default on debts because it was proven that
to pay the debts would cause hardship for the people. And they won that case, and they defaulted on those debts, and the country recovered. So why can't the country simply default on these debts, have whatever period of reconstruction might be necessary, and then continue on, but with their sovereignty? They've already had the precedent for it.
Because there's no political will to do so.
In a world where bondholders can never lose, the people can never win. Democracy is out of the question. But the people of Greece are taking matters into their own hands.
Dr. Tabras, you're an economist. You're suing Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and all the derivative dealers, how they relate to this crisis. Tell us about it.
Okay, the issue started 1.5 years ago. We presented that on April 2010. And we charge for fraud not only Goldman Sachs, as you said, JP Morgan, etc., but we charge all physical persons who represent investment banks, other kind of institutions, CDS traders, naked short sellers, all the people who were involved in one way or in the other in the manipulation of the Greek government debt.
If the government were honest, would they issue some kind of arrest warrant for these bankers that are committing these acts of financial tyranny?
No, the question is why our judicial system does not act.
Yes.
On its own, and even more after my lawsuit. Why they don't act? They are passively see the Troika, the conquerors, the occupiers to come forwards, come and left Greece without doing anything.
When there's an occupying force in a country, this technique of no pay or boycott has been effective. Would you say that the country of Greece is now being occupied by this foreign entity, the IMF?
The non-pay movement reflects the resistance to this regime that has been established, and not only to the resistance, let's say, to the strict economical consequences of the regime, but the resistance of the attack against our dignity as humans.
What is the future of the Greek economy, according to your estimates?
Well, it's being taken over by outside entities, outside forces like the IMF. So the Greek economy going forward is the property of the IMF. If it improves, the Greek people won't benefit, the IMF will benefit.
Because they have terrorized us. They have violated our dignity, our individual and national identity, dignity. And we don't know, we are scared about our future, what is going on to come next.
Just about, we tried to get in through this way last night, but it was like being reborn through a glass womb into a post-revolutionary Athens. This is what happened last night.
There has to be a regime change. It's just that they don't trust any other politician. This is why I think that the only solution that the Greek people have is to follow the Icelandic example, which is put together a people's party and run in the election. Put citizens in parliament. This is going to make a major difference.
Well, look at the example of Iceland, for example. They didn't pay back the terrorist bankers. The economy had 1 or 2 years of collapse, basically, and now it's growing. The Icelandic economy is growing, and it's doing quite well. Same thing for Greece. Don't pay the debt. The economy will go through a year or two of recalibration of a collapse, but from that will be growth. But it'll be growth shared by the people of Greece. You'll still have your sovereignty, because right now you're losing your sovereignty. You're becoming a vassal state of global bankers. There's not much recourse that people have other than to rise up and seek regime change and to insist on default for all that fake debt that they're being asked to pay for. There's only one solution, that you have to default on that fake debt.
The planning for the revolution, it's ready to make revolution, but after revolution, what is?
That's always the question, isn't it?
Yes.